guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're here in Palm Springs, California for a very, very special Honda event, and it's about this vehicle right here. This is it. This is the updated, refresh, and new 2022 Honda Passport. Our particular one is that Passport TrailSport edition. But before we get into this updated off-road midsize SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Honda. They've been doing the business for so many decades, bringing reliable transportation. Now you could really get your Honda flavor so many different ways, from the Ridgeline, if you're wanting that pickup truck versatility, to of course the heavy hitters known as the Accord and the Civic. Now the Passport, the name has been around since 1993, if you could believe that. I was a junior in high school. That was when the first generation came about. Now, eventually the Passport was taken out of the lineup and it made a return in a big way in 2018. That is the start of the second generation. So this is a continuation of the second generation being the major refresh update for this platform. Now, for 2022, like I said, I use the word new because it's not just about updates, it's also about this new trim called TrailSport. And you're gonna see that name pop up on other Honda vehicles. Can you guess which one's probably gonna be next? I would probably say the Ridgeline. So let's go ahead. I wanna dive into this Passport TrailSport and find out, is it enough off-road SUV for the price, and did Honda make the right changes to this vehicle? Let's go ahead and dive into this 2022 Passport TrailSport edition. Right off the bat, we see some of the major changes. Now, first of all, I like the way they brought this beautiful color to the Passport color palette. I really think that this Galaxy Blue Pearl fits it to a T. Now, up front, of course, you're gonna get those LED daytime running lamps. Standard on all the trims will be LED projector beam style headlights. And then as you work your way down, you'll see the refresh for 2022. We have functional side air curtains, all flat black. You do have your non-LED turn signals. We're gonna have to zonk that, but what you do have in the lower corners are those LED fog lamps. Nice to see, because a lot of brands are getting rid of fog lamps. But I really think the way that they kind of did this design by extending out that front fascia like that really gives it a nice aggressive look to the Passport. Now, when we talk about the track is actually widened at the front. The track is the amount of space in between the two front wheels from left to right. And then speaking of going left to right, as we slide across, you're gonna see that updated grille. Now this grille is specific to the TrailSport. So we have a little bit of gloss black across the brow. This is almost like the eyebrow of the front of the vehicle. You got that massive Honda badge, and then I'm really digging the gunmetal gray finish. And of course, like I said, the first time we're seeing TrailSport, you got the mountain range, just like we have a mountain range right behind us. We do have that mountain range in the badging to show that off-road capability. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's in the background? That's actually Joshua Tree National Park, all the way in the background here in Palm Springs, California. Now, it's not just about a grille and a badge. This actually has a 1.5 inch lift compared to your standard Passport. So as we work our way down, we have that nice, very durable flat black, which is gonna take a better beating than gloss black. You can see how they had that gunmetal gray finish on the simulated skid plate area, but the great news is you have well over 8 inches of ground clearance, plus the TrailSport does have some metal skid plates far underneath the belly of this beast to help protect those inner bits, because Honda's claiming that you could do some pretty good off-roading with this vehicle. But I do love the updates. Now, if you go for other trims, like say an EXL or the Elite, there still will be a revised front fascia. This one has a lot of components specific to the TrailSport. Now, when we get up onto the hood, same hood design, simple, real clean. You have a nice rise and then it boomerangs towards the A-pillar. The good news about this hood is that when you're behind the wheel piloting this vehicle, it gives you a great visual reference point out the windshield, and you can see that extra ground clearance that we're talking about. Plus, of course, when we're looking at the chassis and the dampers, all four corners have been revised for that off-roading. Now, as we come around the bend, what do we got here? We got these new updated wheels. On your TrailSport, you're gonna have these 18-inch wheels. I do love the gunmetal gray, machine aluminum. You'll notice that we have a more off-road rugged tire with that extra protection around the sidewall. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of this? 245 on the width, meaty 60 series sidewall, and you can go all the way up to a 20-inch wheel, just not on the TrailSport. Now, if you're looking at the flat black, there is a little bit of flat black, just a sprinkle, sort of like how it's sprinkling right now with the rain going around the fender treatment. It blends in nicely. It's nothing too aggressive. And Lori can showcase that updated shock absorber that they're working right there on this particular vehicle to give it that better stability as you're going off-road. Of course, you're gonna get a fully ventilated rotors up front. And I do like the overall style, especially like I said, this Galaxy Blue Pearl is the color that I would choose. Now going down the side, you are gonna get gloss black on the mirror caps, slim and trim on those LED turn signals just like before. On the low side of things, we have the flat black, looking great. Gonna take that better beating. Color matched on the mirror caps, flat black around mirror caps, color matched on the door handles, duh. Then we have flat black, mostly around the window treatment, a little bit of kind of satin finish to the top portion, but I do like the roof rails. The roof rails have a nice painted texture to it, and they are raised, so you will be able to obviously get those tie-down straps very easily done around your kayaks, your mountain bikes, your canoe, whatever you're gonna throw up there. Now, working our way towards the rear, everything from the side, besides the wheels, is basically the same as it's been since 2018. And then when we get to the tail end of the business, I like how they do the low roof spoiler that extends out. Obviously, we got to zonk the wiper. It would be nice, especially all this room, get the wiper, tuck it underneath. Please excuse the dirt. It's really windy out here. I'm trying to protect the microphone from too much wind noise and buffeting, but there's some dirt that's being blown around. So please excuse the dirt. We are in the desert technically. TrailSport, so there's that bright orange TrailSport badge. Of course, you're gonna get all-wheel drive. There is a way to get a two-wheel drive Passport, which I'll tell you a little bit in a few minutes, but at the tail end of the business, I like the way that they black out the badges, the Passport badge, your TrailSport badge, your all-wheel drive badge, and then this lower bumper is all new with new exhaust. Nice slash cut, large round opening. These are really fully functional exhaust. They're not just for show. They're actually gonna make some noise. And of course you have that simulated rear skid plate like we have out across the front bumper. But remember, there is some actual skid plate, real metal skid plate protection underneath the vehicle. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering our Passport TrailSport. All right, guys, we got the hood popped open. You do still have a prop rod, but underneath that is that naturally aspirated V6 power. Not the sexiest of engine covers. It is nice that it says Honda on it, but what do we have? We have that 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. Now the great news is that this is the only engine option, so that's gonna keep it simple. It's got a 9-speed automatic transmission. You do have what Honda calls that IVTM4, which is their all-wheel drive management system. 70% of the power goes to the rear wheels. The vehicle weighs 4,229 pounds. Like I said, you can get two-wheel drive. MPGs on our all-wheel drive are going to be 19 in the city, 25 on the highway. If you go the two-wheel drive route, you could add an extra MPG to both. And then if you're wondering, well, Joe, does this thing tow? Of course. You're looking at 5,000 pounds worth of towing. We got the fender flares on the TrailSport. You got that 1.5-inch lift, 8.1 inches of ground clearance, and that four-mode traction management system, which I'm going to show you when we go into the interior of the vehicle. Plus, there's gonna be a ton of HPD accessories you could get to add and personalize your Passport exactly to you. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and hear what the V6 sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside the 2022 Honda Passport TrailSport. Really nice changes that they made, and I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been looking at the Passport. I kind of have been thinking Sorento, Kia Sorento X-Line, or maybe Hyundai Santa Fe, that XRT off-road trim, but I'm liking this new Passport TrailSport edition. How much is it? Well, starting price for an EXL Passport is an MSRP of $39,000. The top trim Elite comes in at an MSRP of $45,000. So what about the TrailSport? It actually is right underneath the Elite. It's an MSRP of $42,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. No major changes to the door panel, except for some of that orange contrast stitching. That's part of that TrailSport theme. I do like all the soft touch material. And what's great is because you're going to be going down some trails, they have a place for a couple pouches of trail mix or about 4 Nature Valley granola bars. Door pocket is a little on the skinny side, so if you're going to keep it healthy, go with 5 bananas. You can fit up to 5 bananas in there, really get your fix of potassium for the day. And as we go from the door panel to the dash, same thing. Soft touch material. A lot of this is carryover from last model year, but the big news is right here. All trims get the standard 8-inch infotainment system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation. Is it a touchscreen? Of course. Very, very fast reacting. You can actually move the icons around to whichever ones you use the most. Put those up front. Leave the other ones on the third page. There's actually 3 pages of different information. You could go into your trip computer. Nice font and color. And like I said, very, very fast reacting. And I really like that about this system. I put it into reverse. You do have your backup camera. It is a little on the grainy side. But the great news is you do have trajectory, and you could also adjust the camera angle, which I've really liked, especially for when you're towing. Remember, you could tow up to 5,000 pounds. The one question I have in the Zonk is there's no forward-facing camera. So that is one thing I wish they would have added, at least on the TrailSport trim. Everything else, like I said, is going to be brought over from last year, and that's not a bad thing. You got your bright red start-stop button. You got your dual climate control. Easily adjust the rear AC control as well. You got your official off-road edition Twinkie tray, 2 Twinkies side by side in there. Plus, we got heated seats, 3-way positionable heated seats, wireless charging, 12-volt, and a USB-A, not the smaller USB-C. That's called a USB-A if you didn't know. 2 cup holders, key fob, still the same key fob, and that's okay because it's a good size. It's not going to poke you in your rocks to where you're not going to be able to have kids one day, and it's got a nice weight to it and remote start. This is going to control that 9-speed automatic transmission. You hit drive twice, that puts it into sport mode, and guess what? Now we have that traction management system, which I'll show you more when you come to the business end. One of my favorite things, especially being in the Tampa Bay area, is Honda has what they call the Brady box. And this is what it's all about. You open this up, you could easily put a signed football, NFL regulation size football in here, signed by Tom Brady and the rest of the Buccaneers. That's why they call it Champa Bay, not just Tampa Bay. But you also inside have another 12-volt and another USB-A all the way deep down inside there, so you can keep your balls nice and warm. Close it up. The one Zonk I have. Ow, that was my funny bone. Where's my center armrest? Honda does the captain's chair arms. Now they are a little wider, which I'm happy about. But as you can see, it's that annoying ratcheting style. So I guess if you want to drive like this, you know, maybe pick the earwax out of your ear. This is like the perfect alignment for that. But the good news is you can actually put it out of the way, or if you have a purse, a sack, a satchel, a bag, even a 5-pound bag of potatoes, you can fit right on this area right here with your Tom Brady football safely inside. Seats, love the material, love the way they went TrailSport with the mountain range there, all the orange stitching, nice bolstering. And what's great is that the seat has electric for the passenger and the driver, and they're comfy but not too soft. Open up the sunroof, standard size sunroof, not a panoramic sunroof, standard size sunroof, but there's plenty of room up here. Why don't you get your butt over here? I want to show you behind the wheel of this leather wrapped steering wheel in our Passport TrailSport edition. All right, guys, driver's time, business end. You got 2 memory seat settings. We got our seat controls, easy to get to. Nice 8-way positionable with the lower lumbar. Like I said, I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom in here. Steering wheel. It is a carryover, but it's a great steering wheel. The leather, and I do like the orange stitching. It's not too over the top. Nice flat black on the buttons. You do have paddles on the back of the steering wheel to go up and down that 9-speed automatic. And it is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you have your digital display. Easy peasy, clean readouts. There's your traction management, mud, snow, sand, and normal. You got your tachometer across the top, and then you have an analog fuel gauge and an analog cooling gauge. Very smartly laid out. Plus, you got that beautiful rainbow over there. Reminds me of when I was a kid. Reading Rainbow. No, I'm not going to sing anymore. I'll probably lose subscribers if I keep that going. But why don't I go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see how your passengers are going to like off-roading with you towards the pot of gold right by that rainbow. Let's check it out. All right, guys, back seat time. And one thing that has not changed is going to be the great amount of space that you have in the back seat for your passengers. And remember, being a 2-row, it really frees up the space, but wait until we get to the cargo area for all your stuff. Now, the backs of the seats, soft touch material all the way around, super sized pockets. Put a couple books in there, maybe some maps in case you lose reception out in the mountains and you don't know how to make it out of here so that you don't have to start eating one another as cannibals. Something to think about. Now, the back of the center console area, you do have your 2 AC vents. You do have a Twinkie tray. Make sure to preserve the Twinkie in case you run out of food. And then you got your home power source and 2 USB-A's there. I got my own pocket over here. I'm going to bring an extra pizza with me in case we get stuck out of here, because I'm not eating anybody if I'm stuck out here. But plenty of space. You do have your security shades, keep the peepers and the creepers out. And then, of course, you're going to get a nice, soft center armrest with 2 cup holders and all the orange stitching. They did not leave any orange stitching left out in this vehicle. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the cargo area and see what we could haul in our Passport TrailSport edition. All right, guys, time to get into that cargo area. Now, the great news about the Passport compared to, say, the Honda Pilot is that even though both of them are midsize, Passport you only get in a 2-row. So what does that do for you? It actually maximizes your interior space. And guess what? For 2022, they found a little bit more storage area and cargo space for you in the back of the Passport. Now, on the driver's side, you have a nice sized nook here for a box of Twinkies, maybe even like a small watermelon. You're out here in the desert, maybe you find a watermelon, maybe a small cactus. You drop that cactus in there. You do have a 12-volt power source. That's to run the electric pump to get water out of your cactus. We got our buttons to fold down the rear seats, and what I love is look how flat that cargo floor is. And then watch this, Honda knows snack storage. But bam! This is gonna be a party tray like none other before it. Fill it up with nachos, some nice cheese, or you lift it up even more and we have another storage area. But seriously, this would be great for when you're at the beach. You got all the dirty sandy gear, throw it in the back. Maybe you're out in the mountains, Joshua Tree National Park Forest, and you're collecting rocks. You could throw the rocks in here. And then, of course, we got another button on the passenger side to fold down the seats. But look at how easy it is to fold the seats. You just push the button and then they're gonna fold down so nicely, so clean. And then you're probably saying, well, Joe, what is the actual size? You are looking at 50.5 cubic feet of space. You fold down the seats, 100.8 cubic feet of space. That's what I'm talking about when we look at the storage space and how Honda has engineered this. But you know what? It's about that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in our 2022 Passport TrailSport. All right, guys, we're inside this 2022 Honda Passport TrailSport. I have it in sport mode, and remember, you get into sport mode by hitting the drive button a second time. You have the green illumination and the S that lets you know that you're in sport mode. Those paddles behind the steering wheel will allow you to go up and down that 9-speed automatic transmission. And right now I have on that digital display showing that all-wheel drive power display. And I really like the way they showcase that to let you know how that power is being transferred from the front wheels to the rear wheels. I'm gonna go ahead and come to a stop, and we're gonna do some on throttle acceleration here. So if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. So I like with the naturally aspirated V6, you're obviously gonna get that linear torque delivery. It comes in very quickly, low in the rev range, and pulls all the way through the rev range, which is really nice. It's gonna be good to have that power for your towing, the horsepower and the torque especially. And then, of course, you probably notice how smooth the shifts were. Very, very smooth shifting transmission with that 9-speed automatic. I do love the visibility out the windshield, the way the A-pillars are pulled way far apart, and the fact that now all the trims have the upgraded 8-inch infotainment system is a nice touch no matter where you're coming in at whatever price point. Now, I'm kind of glad that I'm showcasing this road, even though it's straight and narrow, is because it's very bumpy. And one thing you're going to notice is that with the Passport TrailSport, all of that great work that's been done to the chassis and the suspension for off-roading is going to also pay big dividends when the road itself is very rough, and it's still going to give you a fairly smooth ride. Another thing that's nice about the off-road tires is that you have that beefed up sidewall protection, but they're not so off-road-esque that it creates a ton of extra road noise. There is a little bit extra over your regular tires on your standard Passport, but nothing too crazy that's gonna drive you nuts at highway speeds. But steering has a nice light feel. I was pointing out earlier in the review how you could go through those 4 different modes in your traction management system: normal, snow, mud, and sand. So it's really nice all at the press of the button to have that flexibility when it comes to how the all-wheel drive is doing its thing. Seats are actually super comfortable without being too soft, and there's plenty of room in here for up front and also the passengers in the back. And I really dig the fact that this is just a 2-row. All right, guys, here we are going off-road. A little bit sunnier, the storm went away, and we are going to showcase what this TrailSport edition of the Passport is all about. What's awesome is this really gets to showcase that traction management system, and of course, walking up to this vehicle, having everything be new from the A-pillars forward, the hood, the grille, the bumper, makes it look muscular. And here we are gonna flex some of that muscle as we are going down this dirt trail. And what's great about it is not only are we able to see how the suspension works, the trail management system works, but also the maneuverability. You know, this being a mid-size SUV, it's not small, but it doesn't feel big, and it allows you to navigate through these areas with the greatest of ease. So you'll be able to enjoy the off-road trails, but you'll also be able to pick the kids up from school, or go to the mall, or go to the airport and not have a big, heavy issue. Now, what's awesome is with that updated digital LED instrument cluster, you are able to see, I have it where it's showing the torque being displayed from the front to the rear. Remember, 70%, and of that 70% going to the rear wheels, 100% could go left or right. And that's what it's gonna allow you to go through these off-road conditions. It's nice to have the 18-inch wheels rather than the 20-inch from last model year. And going over this little whoop section, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let me do a little quick on throttle in the sand here. This is sand mode, on throttle, here we go. Look at that, you just take it and it just gets the power to the ground very, very effectively. Guys, we're going to show a little bit of,
and then watch your right coming off, there's another boulder.
The downward control of this Passport TrailSport. As you can see, the TrailSport in front of us actually is lifting wheels off the ground. We're gonna go nice and slow, nice and gingerly, one at a time, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. That is showcasing, like I said, that extra ground clearance. The track, remember, we talked about track. What does that mean? That's the space between the wheels, left to right. And that is what allows this Passport to now navigate so much nicer. I think another thing that just makes this so enjoyable is that the ease. It's one of those like Ron Popeil set it and forget it inventions. You put it in sand mode, the management system does all the hard legwork for you. And that takes it to a new level for people who maybe are, you know, this is something that is a new adventure for them going off-road, and having that ability to just select whether you're in snow or mud or sand really just allows that ease of operation. And the 9-speed automatic, I think, is a great transmission for this type of work, having a traditional torque converter, automatic transmission, and then of course the V6 under the hood. Even though, yes, I know a lot of you may be disappointed there's not big changes horsepower or torque-wise, it is a very robust, very reliable power plant. Another thing, I don't know if you can tell by my hands here, very easy to shift the steering as we're going through these different ruts and stuff. It's not very heavy, but it's also not too light. I actually could feel what's going on with the traction, and nobody is gonna argue with
center right on that big boulder there.
Nobody's gonna argue with the Sonic Gray Pearl color, which is new on this Honda Passport TrailSport Edition. As we are making our way through the rest of the trail, I hope this gave you a perfect understanding of what not only the Refresh Passport is all about, but also now this TrailSport Edition, new for 2022. We are gonna get back and try to wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one windy, hurricane kind of day. Even though this is the desert and they don't really get hurricanes over here, it is one windy kind of day. But you know what? It's still been a good day with this 2022 Honda Passport TrailSport Edition. I want to thank the whole Honda team for inviting us out to California to get behind the wheel to showcase what this vehicle is all about on-road and off-road. Let me know what you think. Has Honda done enough to the Passport with this TrailSport Edition? Is it worth the price? Put it in that comment section. Dying to know which way you would go with your money. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Raiti's Rides merch. Got to give it up to The Rock. She's holding that camera like a champ. The wind is not blowing her, but you know what? She's bringing the shots just for you. So show Lori some love in the comment section. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.